Okay, bending sides. No time lapse on this one like I did on my previous video. But we're going to do this real time and see how that works. Anyway, we've already gotten a set of book match sides. Already run it through the thickness sander. I really thickness it down at about with 80 grit. Then I ran it through at 120 off of a Jet 1620. Then through a series of scraping. I love using a scraper. And DA sander, 220, 320 grit. I got both sides, 220, 320. To take off the sanding scratches. So they're pretty scratch free right now, and I like to get them close to finish because I don't like sanding once they're bent on the body. Anyway, we're bending these today at right at about 86 thousandths of an inch. So, you know, 80 thousandths is very, very easy to bend. This is, we're bending Koa today, got some figure inside. I don't know if you can see that. But this blanket is not plugged in yet. It's a little dirty, I should clean it. What I'm going to show you is basically the back side of this jig, or this bending jig right here. You'll see there's a notch inside, and when we bend the side on here, there, it actually sits, and there's a flat on it right there. So when we bend it, it doesn't, it's going to stop right there. Because this is exactly where the center of my tail block is. It took me a long time to figure this one out. 18 1/8 of an inch tail block to heel block. And I already pre-tapered, oh, can't see this. I already pre-tapered this. And I mentioned somewhere, I think it was Bull, that it's amazing how much I don't measure anymore. And funny, I just created a measuring template for the sides. And there it is. So looks like I'm not going to be measuring sides anymore. I got my profile right across the top, which gets it really close because I radius the back as well too. So this gets it really close to sanding the back once the sides are bent. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to kind of work real time. Let's show you the other side of this. It's very simple, this bending blanket. I don't have screws or anything. I got this little my favorite, Baltic birch fly, with some springs on there. And then here's my centerpiece to press down the waist. It's going to go in, slide in like this, and that's it. That's pretty much how it's going to look. We don't get too fancy. I'm just going to plug this in right now. And you get to stare at the blanket for a little bit while I go and wet the sides. Okay, so all I did was I just wet the sides. You can see that. So showing some nice figure on there. I'm going to make sure this is book matched, so I need to know where the center is, which I know. That's going to be the show side right there. If you go this way, doesn't book match as well. So this is our show side. So we're going to start. Well, what I also use is got them right here. Love my scrap. 2 blocks. So again, this is the outside. So I'm going to make that face the outside. All we're going to do is push that. Look at that. Right to the base. So again, there's a stop. This is notched in here. It'll stop right there. And then we just start bending. Oh, I got my spray bottle on the side too, in case it dries out too much. There are many, many, many different ways to bend. Again, I'm bending this a little thicker than I'm normally used to. So this might take a little longer. No time lapse, but if you guys wanted to see how long it takes, and that's why we're doing this. You got the expert guys, I'll call them experts. Really, you think hand bending on a pipe is easy. Hand bending on a pipe takes a lot of skill. I've done it before. I find this, very easy for me. So all I'm doing is I'm allowing the steam to go through, and I'm pressing this down. And you notice I don't have any stainless steel slats or anything, and which only because I haven't gotten them yet. Would I use them? Yeah, sure, why not? It's nice, keeps the heat in, keeps it from blowing out, and that's what going with stainless steel slats and making a blanket sandwich, so to speak, does. Now it gets tricky in the waist because only now are we starting to hit the heated part. So we go slow over here. And you can't go fast, especially when, well, again, I'm bending at about 80, what did I say? It's over 85 thousandths. 70 is really, really nice to bend. This is why I have a notch on this thing, on this side. I don't know if you saw it earlier. It's cut out over here so I can just slide it in. And we'll just start pushing it down right here. Of course, it might help if this threaded rod wasn't spinning. I haven't bent sides in a while, so I just got loose. There we go. Push this down. That's getting bent nicely. And that's there. Now, obviously, the waist is getting cooked. Over here is fairly dry, so we just spray it, get a little wet again. Some steam going. I'm actually putting pressure on this end, and I'm holding it down over here and pushing both sides. Again, this is thicker than I normally do. Totally low tech. Don't even have a temperature gauge on this thing. That's okay. Put this on and we start sliding it down slowly. See the steam coming off the top over here. Now, because I don't have a temperature gauge on this, I cannot let it sit in the bender to cook because it'll burn. So normally, once we get it bent and all of this liquid is evaporated from here, we're going to unplug this. There's a lot of liquid down over there. We resprayed it, and that's cooking. That's almost gone. We're going to unplug this already, take it out, put it in the mold, and then we're going to do the next side. So I'm just going to unplug it real quick. Just cool down the blanket a little bit. There's a little bit of spring back, of course. It's not cooked well yet. Take this off. And there's one side already bent. A little burnt on the top. We'll sand that off later on. Then all I have right here, I'll bend this down. I got my mold right underneath. And it's actually sitting in there fairly. It went in really, really well. What we're going to do is, you can fast forward to the end. It's not going to be much from here. I'll plug this back in. Second side should go fairly quicker because the blanket's already heated up. We'll take our next side, do another spritz on it, dry it up a little bit. Now, I got to make sure I'm bending the right side. Okay, we don't want to have two left sides or two right sides. In this case, we just ended up bending, if you're looking at it from the top, the left side of the instrument. So now we're going to end up bending the right side of the instrument as you look at it from the top. So this is going to be the outside. Put it in here, bottom out, and then we just start bending. You can hear that steam going already. And yes, I have burnt my hands before, or fingers. Not drastically, but enough to where it hurts. Pressing down on this. It's not too bad now. Keep the waist going. That going down. I also do my bindings on here for the body. Bend the bindings on here. The bindings I don't do on here, obviously, I don't have a jig for that yet, is the bindings are on the headstock. Those I actually still bend on a pipe. It's not really a pipe. Hot pipe per se. It's actually just a pipe, and I take off this blanket, wrap the blanket around it, and start bending around a 1-inch pipe. Because some of the radiuses on the headstock a lot steeper than the lower bow. This is actually going pretty nicely. See all the water coming out. Again, very low tech. No temperature. It's because I'm cheap. But I've been doing this. It's like guys that bend with pipes. They do it for years. Find no reason to change. Sometimes you do what you do. Find no reason to change. Keep what you're doing because it works for you. All right, that's there. And we're not going to cook this any longer. Take that off. It's a little wet. All right, this side's looking good. Now what we're going to do is, let's see if I can get this in view for you here. Got it in the mold. And I used to the size of the sides used to be oversized, and I would have to cut it to make it fit. In this case, this is a little tight right now, so we're going to have to cut it a little bit. Or maybe not. Right there, for this mold, 18 1/8 actually fits in without any cutting. And it's all centered up. And this is where it's going to sit. Probably glue the heel block and tail block in soon. All right, there you go. Side bending on a blanket. Very non-high-tech for a high-tech blanket, I guess you could call it that.